folks, welcome back. It's John Pettipas, and it's 20 minutes before 9 o'clock in the morning Nova Scotia time, on the morning now of Friday. Time flies. Friday, the 21st day of January, 2022. This morning, the title of my video is The Five Brothers of World War II. They were FOUGERE, the five FOUGERE brothers of World War II. And the names are Stanley, Ambrose, Sylvester, Seward, and Gilbert. Five brothers from one family, the children, the sons of Daniel and Charlotte FOUGERE of Frankville, up the highway from Harbor Bushy, beautiful Harbor Bushy, and wonderful Frankville. Five sons, all enlisted for World War II to fight Hitler. It's because of those brave, gutsy, courageous men that I can make this video today. They're of Acadian ancestry, from Frankville, Antigonish County, Nova Scotia, and four of them, Stanley and Ambrose and Seward and Sylvester, went overseas. The fifth brother, Gilbert, enlisted when he finished basic training. He was the youngest in the family. World War II had ended, so he didn't get to go overseas. But there was five brothers. And I'm going to start firstly with Stanley. And bear with me, folks. I got quite a bit of ground to cover this morning. And for a remarkable family, I can't do them justice by rushing it. I got a lot of material to cover. I knew Stanley very well. And Stanley was a gentleman of great fate. You'd see him in his seat, sitting next to Stanley and Stella, sitting next to Wilfred Landry in the back pew, opposite the back pew. I sat in the back pew on one side, and they sat in the back pew on the other side. And he was a remarkable man. As he got older, and he'd walk to church. He'd walk from maybe a quarter mile, third of a mile from his home up to church. He was a gentleman, a man of great fate, and constantly learning. He just a very forward-thinking. He got old in years, but he never got old in age and outlook. He was always forward-looking, always forward-looking. They take and I'm going to touch on some more stuff after on him, but just a remarkable gentleman. Now it was quite the thing to have five brothers from one family enlisted in World War II. And at one point, Dan McIntosh of CTV, which is a very popular news hour show in this area, Dan McIntosh came down, and I think they were at Ambrose's house, if I got this correctly. Okay, Ambrose's wife, Peggy, was a wonderful, wonderful cook. She made beautiful rolls. Another lady with wonderful hands make the blessed rolls. And so anyway, one of their nieces, I call her Cookie Biscuit, okay, Cookie McKinnon, she takes, and her maiden name was FOUGERE, and she is a lovely lady to serve. And she was serving them, and this goes back about, 30 years now. All five brothers are alive, and everyone was suppering. Dan McIntosh again was down from CTV, and Cookie was attentively serving her father and his four other brothers at the separate table. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. They had there's two other brothers that weren't enlisted overseas, to my knowledge. There was Nobby, who has a son, Daniel, interestingly, that lives, named after his grandfather, lives in the family home in Frankville, where all that distinguished family grew up. There was 7 brothers, I believe, and 3 sisters. So there was other sister, Sister Ada, who was religious, sister of Congregation Order of St. Martha. She was a remarkable lady, passed on not that many years ago now. She was a wonderful lady. And there was a Sister Rita, who married a Bro gentleman in Harbushy, big family, and there was a Sister Stella, and so I believe she was married to a Crispo, if I'm not mistaken. So they're a remarkable family. Their children and great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren inhabit area frequently. If you took the FOUGERES out of Harbushy, Frankville, and to the coast, you wouldn't have many left. And by the way, the boys' mother, Charlotte, Daniel, the father, his father of all the boys and the daughters, the big family of, I think there was 10, the family. Charlotte, I'm pretty certain, was at the coast. So if you looked at the coast and FOUGERE's out of Frankville Harbour, well, we wouldn't have many people left, would we? Okay? And that's a fact. Added a few Breens and a bunch of Bennetts, and there'd be few left. I want to mention briefly on the sister Rita. Rita was a FOUGERE, and she married a bro, and all those sons, I went one time, bringing Stanley back in the story, it was a Terry Fox Sunday some years ago, and I went, oh yes, he'll give you something, go. He's out in this baby barn making soup. He grew a beautiful garden, fantastic garden, and he's making vegetable soup and putting it into liter bottles. He had his Bunsen burner going and his lobster cooker out in the shed making soup. I went next door to the brother John. He was cooking Sunday dinner. Boy, he had a spread on. He could have fed a minibus. Okay. Then I went to the third house, which is the late Peter Bro. He was a wonderful gentleman. And his wife was gone to a meeting somewhere on Sunday, and he was home making pickles. So Uncle Stanley was making vegetable soup from from the produce of his garden out on a Sunday afternoon out in the baby barn in his yard, him and Stella's yard. And next house was John making Sunday dinner, wonderful looking Sunday dinner. And the third house was his brother Peter, another nephew of their Uncle Stanley, and doing pickles. So they're very capable cooks. Very capable cooks. Now, Stanley came in the store. He was a great customer. And he'd come in early in the morning, get his fertilizer, seed potatoes, whatever, fruit trees, seed. And so, give him a glass of orange juice. He's leaning on the counter. Drinking orange juice. I was finishing breakfast. And he said, I bought my grandson a van. He said, very meek and mild, modest man. Very smart man. Very principled man. He said, why wait till I'm gone? And they're wonderful. That would be his daughter, wonderful lady, Doris. Doris and Robert Rehill, who live up in Glasgow. And there was a very special grandson, Jeremy. And I remember as Stanley got very elderly, it was Father's Day, and I can remember Doris coming in with her father Stanley to buy some broad bean or bean seeds for his garden. And they take and said, you're very good to your son. All their kids, sons and daughters, are very good too. But anyway, says we just love him. They take and they're a wonderful mother, wonderful parents. And since that time, the special grandson, Jeremy, has gone to heaven. And remember, again, it was at Stanley's at Terry Fox Sunday, or dropping a treat off or something. I said, sorry about the death of your grandson. He said he's in heaven now. And so, but Stanley, the philosophy of the guy, he said, why wait till I'm gone? He did something then. His outlook was wonderful. He was always learning. He had a slight stroke in his early 80s and used to lift, didn't bench press like going to Olympics or something, but he these weights he lift, dumbbells or something. He lifted weights and he lived. The gentleman lived. I thought he was going to make 100 like Wilfred Landry. He died at just around Good Friday, Easter of 18 would have been 19. He died 1 year and 1 month shy of what would have been his 100th birthday. He died in March. Had he lived till April, he would have been 99. Missed his 99th birthday by a month, and missed his 100th birthday, which would have been April 26th of the following year, by, say, 1 year and 1 month. Remarkable family. Another thing, we have a wonderful Senyatab in Harbourbushie and a very active Veterans Association. Harbourbushie Veterans Association is called. And anybody can join, but it's very many movers and shakers are descendants, sons and daughters of veterans. And at one point, there was a picture taken. Of the FOUGERE boys that served overseas, and they all had their medals on and their blazers on and their military cap and so on. And they just line up by the Senyatab. And they lined up. They weren't putting in pictures. It wasn't oldest, youngest, nothing like that. Just one in order. And interestingly, as fate would have it, they died in the order that the 5 gentlemen were lined up. The one that was at the far right side died first, and second, third, fourth, fifth. You have to wonder. That's just they just at random lined up to get their picture taken. It's a very famous picture. And the 5 brothers, 4 which went overseas. And we can never, as I just mentioned that, to conclude, we can never thank our veterans enough. We have freedom in this country. You can never say thank you enough. And I plagiarized this from Mr. Ted Cogan of Antigonish, who was manager of the Credit Union Antigonish, Bridgeton for years, and ran the food bank on a volunteer basis for years. And remarkable gentleman. He's well in his 80s now. Great fella. And he's sent me a little note one time, and he said, we can never say thank you enough. And so I am going to do it in French. I'm going to say merci. We can never say merci enough to men like Stanley, Ambrose, Seward, Sylvester, and their younger brother Gilbert. So it's John Pettipas. I ask you to share this video far and wide, please. Press the subscribe button if you're so kind to do so. And appreciate all our veterans. And actually, when Stanley died, he was the last veteran we had left of World War II. The last veteran of World War II. And they had remarkable wives. I can't conclude this video without... Stanley's wife was Stella, and she was a remarkable lady. And phone up to fall the rabbits in around November. Okay, I'll tell Stanley, and he'll be down, save us a pair or two, and he'll be down to get them in. Remarkable lady. Stella, and their wonderful daughter Doris. Okay, Ambrose's wife was Peggy. She was a remarkable lady. She was a great baker. She made rolls, and she was wonderful. Seward's wife just passed on a little more than a year ago. Would be Cookie Biscuit's mother, and there's others in the family, and Agnes, and she was almost 99. Remarkable lady. We just had Dorothy Malone pass on to heaven several weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago out, and she was the last widow of World War II veterans, and remarkable is so. Sylvester wasn't married, and he lived with a widow in Frankville, Mary Agnes, and in their later years, they gave her help in the house, and they had some company, and she enjoyed having somebody at supper time and so on, and he was a remarkable man. And Gilbert didn't go overseas. Actually, his wife is Mabel, and she's a remarkable lady in her own right too. They lived in Toronto. She worked at Kodak at one time. Kodak for the good look. I always like Kodak pictures. So Mabel actually technically would be I believe the last widow of although her husband didn't go overseas, of World War II veterans from Harbour-Bushing. It's a very given area and very good people. But the 5 brothers, the FOUGERES of Frankville, Antigonish County, Nova Scotia, and their descendants number, as I say, it's like Lord promised to Sarah and Abraham, your descendants shall number like the stars in the sky or the sands and desert. With that, I got to go. All the best. God bless. And again, we salute and we thank all our veterans. In a special way this morning, in this video, we commemorate the 5 FOUGERE brothers, the children of Daniel and Charlotte FOUGERE of Frankville, Antigonish County, Nova Scotia. Thank you. Bye for now.